can earn that coveted double bye for the ACC tournament. A win tonight. Syracuse, if they fall at Pittsburgh, that's tipping off right now at the Pete. Virginia Tech in this series has lost the last 3 against Virginia. A little bit of a slide right now for the Hokies, who have lost 7 of their last 8, with their only win since January 25th, coming the day after Valentine's Day against Pitt. Virginia in the white and the Hokies in the maroon. And a bit of a changeup for the starting lineup today as well for Virginia Tech, with a bit of an offensive slump right now for Landers Nolley, the leading scorer for the Hokies. He is out of the starting lineup, so a different starting 5, which had been the same for the last 7 games, as John Ogiaco, the big man, the freshman at 6'10", gets the first start of his Hokies career.
Well, and I like that. You bring Landers Nolley off the bench and you say, go be instant offense. You're able to be aggressive when you get into the game. But the hope is that this starting lineup can create a little bit of rhythm in this game. Hard to do against such a good defense.
Here's Diakite, their leading scorer, 13 points a game, and he arcs it right over the top of Ogiaco for the game's first 2 points.
One of the best things that Virginia does offensively is when they create a situation like that for Diakite, they space, they just stay away. A lot of times you see guys cutting through the lane, well, all they do is bring help defenders. That's just to clear out, let them make a play.
New coach this year and a very different roster for the Hokies, but yet they still get a big portion of their scoring from beyond the arc, almost 42%. Naheem Aline, the freshman, worms his way to the rim, averaging 9 a game.
Look at those easy opportunities. I mean, not really an easy shot. Obviously going up against one of the best shot blockers in the ACC in Diakite. But when you have space to put the ball on the floor and get to the basket, that's a successful offensive possession.
Key had space, sends it back out for Diakite, who's met in the lane on the challenge by Wilkins, and here comes Virginia Tech. Wabisa Beatty, the experienced guard, the junior from North Andover, Massachusetts, goes off the hedge, reverses course, and kicks it too wide for a lean and out of bounds to Virginia. Mike Young, the Radford, Virginia native, 15-12 in his first season, 6-10 in the ACC. This team lost Saturday against Duke, 88-64. They trailed by 26 at the half, their second largest halftime deficit since they joined the ACC. Not a gas tank full kind of game for the Hokies, as Braxton Key puts Virginia up 2.
Going with gas tank? Thought we went with glasses. I'm a glass half full kind of guy.
Glass, you go water bottle, gas tank, thermometer. I guess it's not really the right indicator. Tyrese Radford front rims it.
You know, it's interesting when you go against this Virginia defense, they're going to hedge high and they're going to bump you out. If I'm coming off of a ball screen, I'm going to go right into the big man who's hedging, force them to start to call that foul. I don't know about that shot.
That's the type of shot you take when you're feeling really good, right?
Yeah, but he's a guy that needs to get going, but he has to rely on his teammates to help him. And Tony Bennett has been so good with, again, the staple of defense. We know all about it. He's done a terrific job, but when they've played their best, when they've won national championship, they've kicked the training wheels off. And they've been a more of an offensive threat type of team. And Walden Tenzai helps him in that department. Not just from a scoring standpoint, from a space standpoint. When you have space to work, you get easier baskets.
So the wait was not very long for Landers Nolley, who sat about 3 minutes and comes in averaging 17 points a game. So he's the highest scorer average-wise of anybody on the floor in this game. But the reason that we were told he sat out to start the game is because after a 1-for-8 performance from the floor against Duke, he's fouled there. He's shooting 18% overall in his last 3 games.
Look, he'll figure it out. He's a good enough scorer, but again, like, we need to talk. I say this too much. I say rhythm too much, but that's been the issue. You got a lot of kids that are new. Chemistry's not really there. The rhythm's there. Some games, some days it's not. So you've got to find it. You got to create a little flow, and it's really difficult to do when you're going up against this Virginia defense.
Perhaps there's a career as a percussion teacher for you. All that rhythm.
I got to keep it all open.
Horn had a good look and sends it wide. Well, the first game against Virginia, a low-scoring affair for the Hokies. January 4th in Charlottesville, 65-39 in favor of the Wahoos. The Hokies made just 9 two-point field goals in that game. Wide open look, and a high arcer for Key is no good. Couture from the baseline. It ends up with Nolly straight away. No, and in the first 4 minutes, 20 seconds, still just 2 points for Virginia Tech.
I mean, that's good ball movement. The ball's changing sides of the floor. You attack with a bounce. You get that baseline drive, baseline drift, and make an extra pass. You got a great look. I think far too often we define good offense by misses or makes. That's not the case.
And that would raise an interesting case study to go back and review all the film for Virginia earlier this year when the shots weren't falling versus when they are now, winners of 7 of 8.
Against their rival in North Carolina, not so much the case. And then for Duke, it's a head scratcher, to be honest. I mean, this is a Duke team that people say has the best chance to win a national championship. Yet you start to look at some of the losses and you realize this is an incredibly vulnerable Duke team.
Woe is the NC State fan who got his or her hopes up yesterday. And Roy Williams works magic again. 2 wins against the rest of the ACC, 2 Carolina wins against the Wolfpack this year.
You know, Carolina played well, but also the fans showed up, and I think that was important. When the defense picked up, the crowd was there. Christian Keeling was very good. I feel like that ACC tournament is wide open.
It'll be really good. And Virginia tonight playing for a spot in that first 4 to get the double bye as the ACC tournament returns to Greensboro, North Carolina this year. The Hokies still sitting on just 2 points, 4 straight misses. A very quick first 4 minutes in this game. Wolde Tensai guarded by Couture, and as he cuts to the basket, he finds Clark, who loads up for 3 in the corner.
The defense just got chasing the play a little bit too much there. When you chase, when you get into a scramble situation, it forces you to communicate better than any time before.
Radford with 3 defenders around him, grabs the loose ball, sticks it up and in.
Conventional wisdom will tell you move the basketball against Virginia, get it side to side. Well, look, they're too good. They basically play shell drill when you move it that way. You've got to attack. You've got to get to the basket, and you've got to take some chances against this defense.
Casey Morcell missed on the 3, shooting just 18% from 3, and there's more on that number and its historical relevance for Morcell. Nolly looking for his first points, almost 7 minutes in for Tech's leading scorer. Guarded by Key. A lowered shoulder is an offensive foul for Nolly.
Good ball movement, look. Just a little breakdown. Few players go with the basketball, baseline jive, baseline drift. I mean, we've gotten to a point where you just can't help off. You can't help off, and I said it. You've got to attack this defense. Get downhill, get to the basket, get the defense to move. The defense's eyes shift to the basketball when you drive it with the dribble. Everybody says you want to pass that ball around. Yeah, that sounds great. Conventional wisdom is usually reserved for conventional results.
Diakite wide open from the block. So a couple wide open looks, really the last 3 times down the floor, a trio of them for Virginia. John, the one really Cavaliers specific thing that Tech worked on today during their practice was just being able to lock on Wolde Tensai, and whoever's guarding him, you've got to be with him step for step, through screens, over screens, whatever the case is, don't lose him.
I'd say even more importantly, it's just off the ball. It's easy to get lost. When the ball goes to the opposite side, that's when Wolde Tensai's one of the biggest threats on the floor. And I say not just a threat to score, but he creates space.
Curveball that off to the left. Here's Cone, a dangerous 3-point shooter as any in this league. And it's around and out for the freshman from outside Winston-Salem.
I love those guys. They're just looking for three-point opportunities every single time down floor. Just got to be able to defend.
Nobody there to help on Kihei Clark.
There are times when you're not going to have much help, and the time you don't have much help is when the rest of your teammates think that you should be able to keep the man in front. In that situation, Cone should have been able to keep the ball in front.
Cone and Clark. Two sub-6-footers. Just 5 to shoot for Tech. And it's Nolly with a contested 3. No, it's a shot clock violation. Largest lead for Virginia, spurred by Kihei Clark, getting to the rim at will.
Well, good space on the floor when your best passer's your 5-man.
With John Crispin, Mike Cousins, glad you're with us tonight here in Southwest Virginia inside Castle Coliseum. There's a travel on Mamadi Diakite as the ball goes back to the Hokies, who have started 2 of 11 from the floor. A bucket for Aline and a bucket for Radford, and that is it for Tech.
It's almost like you have to prepare for that when you're playing Virginia. You have to prepare for some bad stretches, and you got to keep confidence high. Easier said than done. When you're a group that wants to create a little flow and score and get some shots up and some transition opportunities, it gets depressing after a while when you just can't get a bucket to fall. And that defense always seems to be in position not only to contest the shot, but to rebound a missed shot.
Just 1 made field goal over the last 7 minutes for the Hokies. So there it is, case in point of needing to keep the confidence high. On the drive to the basket after a missed 3 on his last shot, Morcell comes up empty again. And it's the possession length on the other end of the floor that can be difficult for the opposition. Virginia uses about 21 seconds per offensive possession, second longest possession length in the country, only behind Liberty.
It's funny, at a time when coaches go through practice and they say, we play with a 20-second shot clock because I want guys to play with better pace. I want the transition to flow into secondary. Secondary flows into continuity.
Well, we should have a 24-second shot clock anyway, but that's a different idea.
No. Look, I got plenty of rule changes. Don't you worry. Block charge is my biggest.
We need to get high school to have a universal shot clock. 42 states to go.
There we go.
Wabisa Beatty has the 5th and 6 points for Tech.
That was the first time on a little ball screen situation. It wasn't much of a screen that the help wasn't there. Usually they hedge so hard, they bounce you out top. Beatty able to just turn the corner and get a shot up.
Statman lights it up from 3.
That's too easy. Just get sucked in on that ball screen. Yes, you have to be there to take away the roll. But if there's no roll, you have to anticipate that ball coming back out.
The help defense for the Maroon and Orange has been insufficient thus far, leading to the largest lead of the night for the Cavaliers. Nolly for 3. And if he gets going, look out. Shooting just 18% over his last 3 games in that blowout loss to Duke over the weekend. 3 points, the fewest of his young career. Didn't start tonight, sat the first 3 minutes. Mike Young hoping to create a spark off the bench. And that has been the added level of offense this year for Mamadi Diakite that has made him even more dangerous.
You can see he had it last year. They just had better weapons.
Right.
I mean, they had pros, and that's why you win a national championship. But he's a guy that's, I think, quite frankly, maybe a little too much was asked of him early. And again, finding Thomas Walden Tenzai, a guy that can space out and knock down threes, you can rely on that. That helps you.
And you know what's curious right now is there's no Walden Tenzai on the floor. You've got Morcell and Statman in the game. You saw some, probably you could say, forced shots from Walden Tenzai to start.
Yeah, well, I think that's kind of to be expected. When you start to get it going, you start to feel it a bit, you rush, you force it. And he's a guy who's at his best when he takes what comes his way.
Clark off the screen. Nobody got back for Diakite, and he makes the Hokies pay with a 3. Timeout, Virginia Tech.
So much of a concern on that screen and roll. So much help trying to take away that roll.
With 2 huge games, a Sonic blockbuster, Duke and Virginia. And then 9th-ranked Maryland clear of the pack by 2 games In the Big Ten, hosting number 24 Michigan State. Everything's on ESPN and the ESPN app.
That Michigan State team, though, I felt like we tried to define them early, and now they're at a point where they're starting to figure out who they really are.
Wouldn't you love to just not have a preseason poll?
Yes, it's the dumbest thing. It makes absolutely no sense. We don't know anything about these teams. We don't.
But we'd like to think we do.
But it drives me nuts. I mean, you sit there and go, oh, North Carolina's going to be great. Well, are they really going to be great? You know, I wish we waited at least a month.
Yes, I agree. Or to the start of conference play, perhaps.
But we're starting so early. The first week in November, we have games. We have really good games, too. And I think they're barometer games early, and I think we should just wait a month. Now, that probably doesn't help anything because we do get big into things. We get hyped up when we have a 1 versus 2 matchup. I get that. So we're probably hurting our own cause in some way here, and I'm sure the powers that be at ESPN would like it if we have the rankings. But
how dare you preach patience and rationality?
It's just, we just don't know. And quite frankly, like at this point of the season, we still don't know a lot. I think that's the truth of it. Anything can happen at this point.
Well, then there's the other aspect of when Virginia was more in the conversation of a bubble team versus now where they are safely into the field, according to Joe Lenardi, with today's bracketology. You got a stoppage. We have Cody Statman. Perhaps took a blow to the chin there. Yeah, but Virginia, when they were on the conversation as far as were they a bubble team, there was the question of would they get a bump because they're the national champions from a year ago, which no team should, but it's possible.
I mean, go back to the beginning of the season when Purdue just rolled over Virginia at Mackey Arena. Like, did they beat a top 5 team? Because they had a number next to them, yeah, but Virginia wasn't a top 5 team at that point.
Nor have they been.
Yes.
Couture left it short. So last time down the floor, Casey Morcell took a 3, missed a 3. He's 0 for 2 from 3 today. The freshman for Virginia, 17.7% is the lowest made three-point field goal percentage among any D1 player with at least 75 three-point field goal attempts this year. And it's on pace to be the lowest in Division I since the 2012-2013 season.
Got to be memorable for something.
That's with at least 75 attempts from 3.
It's not that you don't get decent looks. That's the thing. He's gotten decent looks, just can't find that rhythm shooting the basketball. And I think part of that is, too, is byproduct of the offense, right? You know, it's so much of a focus on defense. You're not pushing it in transition. A lot of those are swing, not really drive and kick threes.
How about that finish at the basket from Ojiako? Gives the crowd something to get loud for with a nearly full house tonight here in Blacksburg.
When I watch breakdowns against the Virginia defense, if you drive it and have good interior passing, you're going to have opportunities. Because, again, the eyeballs follow the basketball.
Diakite's short corner, when he's been open, he's been hot.
That little pick and roll, pick and pop situation's been there. Even the pick and that's kind of a short roll to the short corner. That's going to be there, especially if you isolate that side of the floor.
Right now it's Mamadi Diakite 11, Virginia Tech 11.
That's depressing.
Hokies shooting 24% to the Wahoo's 45%. First time they met this year, January 4th, John Paul Jones Arena. Landers Nolly had 18 points in that game out of the 39 for the Hokies, which the 39 points they scored was their fewest since 1967.
And this is what I'm talking about. This is an ISO situation. You got a little two-man game, one side of the floor. Everybody else does a great job of staying out of the way. Look, sometimes the best offense is the offense from the guys who just get the heck out of the way. I always thought that with shooters. If you have a great shooter, one of the best things he can do is just space. You're not going to help off of him. Just create space. And the pick and pop, the pick and roll, Diakite has made good reads, and Clark can get him the basketball.
So sometimes you can just back up like Homer Simpson into the bushes and you're doing the best thing for the offense?
Yes, you can. Now, it's hard to get good shooters to back off like that. They want to shoot. But when you have a two-game situation like that, where 2-on-2 with that kind of space, I take the offense every time.
Foul is on Cafaro, the big man for Virginia. This has been a game with very few whistles. Just 3 total fouls against the Cavaliers and 2 against Tech. Woldetensai followed closely wherever he has roamed this end of the floor so far. Still looking for his first points. Clark denied a joyride to the rim. Now 3 seconds to let it go. And it's a turnover by Virginia. Nolly fouled on the floor by Woldetensai. Hokies ball when we return. 3:22 in the first half as UVA is doubling up Virginia Tech.
Oh, yeah.
You Penn State homer, John.
Really, you asking me to pay attention to Sean? I mean, come on. Look, here's the deal. Everybody's pretty good. No one's that good, which means there are vulnerabilities across the board, which means Virginia, if they get hot and score 65 points a game, they can go deep. They could be a second weekend team. Now, the problem is they just struggle to score at times. I think they found something good here with a pick and roll, pick and pop situation, and I think they got to stick with it until it doesn't work anymore.
Woldetensai still scoreless, shovels it off for Diakite, but in the process is whistled for the offensive foul as Horn hits the deck and Woldetensai gets his second personal. Diakite with 11 for Tony Bennett's Cavaliers, trying to hold Virginia Tech under the 17 points. They held them to in the first half. The first time they played this year, the lowest for the Hokies in a half.
I would say for Virginia, just because Virginia Tech covered the ball screen right the first time, keep going back to it. Nothing wrong with going back to it. Force them to defend it properly over and over again and figure out where your adjustments are going to be as an offense.
The Hokies right now are the only thing cooler than being cool on offense. And that, John, is ice cold.
I don't even know where to go.
It's outcast. Morcell gets the reverse lay-in. You didn't want to indulge at all, but I was taking you down that road.
No, but I appreciate the outcast reference. That was a little bit more my time. I rarely get music references.
The lead is 13 for Virginia. Winners of 7 of their last 8. Virginia Tech has lost 7 of 8. Their only win since January 25th, the 15th of this month against Pitt. Meanwhile, 7 of 8 in the win column for Virginia. They lost at Louisville on February 8th. 4 straight wins against Notre Dame, North Carolina, BC, and Pitt. Not the top half of the league right there. We'll see Duke, though, on Saturday on ESPN.
See, defense not there on the roll. Great read by Mamadi Diakite. That's all it is. Look, you're not reading your offense. How do we say this all the time? You got to make a read. Well, you're reading what the defense does. If the defense is there, you pop. If the defense is not there, you roll right to the basket.
Beatty traveled. Diakite with 13 is outscoring the Hokies by himself.
I mean, here he is. He's got eyes. Defense is not coming over. They're late on the help, so it's a roll to the basket. K.A. Clark does a good job. Look, he's small, right? I don't think there's any surprise there. He's small, so he's got to drag that thing out a little bit further to find a passing angle, find a lane. Does a good job with ball fakes to get hands high, drop a bounce pass, fake low, go high. He's figured out how to play this game with a smaller stature.
Can you imagine the counterfactual where he goes to UC Davis instead of Virginia?
I mean, I guess. Is that rhetorical?
I suppose so. There's no real answer for it.
I don't do well with rhetorical questions either. I get those wrong.
Morcell with a fadeaway. Just a couple possessions left in the first half, and it looks like Virginia is going to be responsible for the 2 lowest scoring first halves of the year against the Hokies. Just 5 for 24, 21% field goal percentage for Tech. Cone gets robbed by Clark.
That was great defense. That was great defense. Clark got down, strong base, took a little contact, but didn't give ground. It's almost as if Kia Clark's playing offense when he's playing defense. Try to make sense of that.
Well, good things halftime is 20 minutes. We're going to need all 20 to figure it out. Diakite, the final shot of the first half. 11, not a lucky number for Virginia Tech. 26-11, your halftime tally here in Blacksburg.
Look, there's going to be a lot of things.
With 3.
Thanks, Captain Obvious.
But you know, we've worked 3 games together this year, and that's the second time you said that to me. There's a 3 for Virginia Tech. Much needed, only their second. Virginia with a win tonight. A Syracuse loss at the Peterson Event Center clinches a double bye in the ACC tournament for the Cavaliers. They started 4-4 in ACC play. They've rattled off now 4 straight wins, and they've won 7 of their last 8 as Virginia Tech has lost 7 of 8. The foul there on Naheem Alim, the first for the freshman for Tech.
But I kind of go back to the early season, the preseason rankings, where Virginia's a top 5 team at one point. And it puts a pressure on this team to play at a level that they're just not. I think as time has gone on throughout the course of this season, they figured out who they really are, and they figured out to find ways to win.
And World Tensai became a big-time scorer as he hits the 3, his first made field goal of the day for the junior, averaging 15 points a game over the last 5.
And that's just another good read. Mamadi Diakite, he dives hard. When he dives hard, help comes in. Thomas Walda-Tensai just makes the read, comes to the ball.
Nolly put Braxton Key on his back and scores. He's got 5. They got to get him going. Didn't start the first half, averaging 17 a game. And Walda-Tensai, who just hit that 3, looks for another one. The 15 a game is so impressive in that 5-game stretch because for the season he only averages 7. Nolly shares with Radford. The drive, the finish, and the foul.
Good aggressiveness from Virginia Tech to start this second half, and it's all about getting downhill with that dribble. Braxton Key did not get out high enough. We talked about what the bigs do. They get out high. They're there early on that ball screen. They hitch hard, and they give you a little hip check, too.
Radford, the team's leading scorer in each of the last 2, is short there. Against Miami last Wednesday, triple overtime. And then the Saturday demolition at the hands of Duke at Cameron Indoor. Morcell turned away. Horn and Radford converge to defend.
If Morcell just came to a jump stop, he had Mamadi Diakite wide open for an easy dunk. Got himself up in the air where the only thing he could do, because the pass wasn't there on the baseline, was go up for a shot. It was going to be heavily contested.
Key curls off, a short corner fade splashes in.
Sometimes I think defenses on out of bounds underneath, they kind of fall asleep a little bit, thinking that you're not going to take a quick shot.
And isn't that surprising, knowing that the action is imminent?
Yeah, I mean, you got 9 seconds on the shot clock. You're going to take the first best shot.
So 11 points in 20 minutes in the first half for Tech. 2.5 minutes in, they got 9 points in the second half. Hokies haven't missed yet in the half. They're 4 of 4. Walda-Tensai calling for contact, and now there is a late whistle. Mike Roberts, the sideline official, says it was tipped by the Hokies, and so it stays Virginia ball.
I couldn't tell what it was. Did he want to pass it? Did he know he was taking a bad shot?
Mike Young is saying he was trying to pass the ball.
Well, either way, if it got tipped, it got tipped, but that's a shot.
But a poor box out effort by Tech. 20 seconds remain for Virginia.
Quick shots are great offensive rebounding opportunities. Defense is scrambling. That's just too easy. That's that pick and roll situation. I'll tell you, I would go to it every single time down floor. And I would do it over and over again. Because at times the help is there. At times the help is not there. And there's always a counter to whatever the defense does.
On the marker board on the Virginia Tech bench, the play call appeared to be PH3. That's low acidity, right?
Oh, God.
Well, it ends up with number 3. Wabisa Beatty makes it a 10-point game.
That would technically be alkaline, would it not?
I guess
under 7.
I'm toxic and you're slipping under consciousness, perhaps.
That is very true.
Mike Cousins, John Crispin, thanks for being with us tonight here in Blacksburg. LSU and Florida will follow in the SEC tonight. Key waits it out and gets the bucket, no whistle.
But again, pick and roll situation. Virginia Tech has not figured out how to defend that. I think you just got to play safe down low, force the pop.
Clark gets it taken away by Beatty, as he did to Cone in the first half. Radford backs in, Horn lets it fly, and hits from 3. Tech made 5 baskets in the first half, and they've hit 6 in the first 5 minutes of the second. Key goes to work, and the shot fake sends him to the free throw line.
Hard to believe, 11 points in the first half, because this is a team that can get it going and really takes the time. You just have to be aggressive. This is exactly what they did. Came out of the break here, and look, I think it's also, we got to point out, Joe Lunardi's not picking who he thinks should be in. He's doing this based on what the committee values, and he's pretty darn accurate.
And what he's got today for the ACC, Florida State and Duke are number 2 seeds. Louisville is a 4 seed. Virginia has jumped from a 10 to a 9 seed. And to start action tonight, NC State, the last team into the field.
And yesterday, before that loss to North Carolina, they were the first of the last 4 in.
Couture works a little magic. Radford nearly had a good look. See if Nolly can go to work. Beatty around the hedge lets it go from 3. No.
That was a terrific defensive scramble. College teams don't do that so well. The NBA is really good at scrambling defensively, where they just communicate. Sometimes it's not even vocal communication. It's pointing. It's reading your defensive players. Virginia just did a terrific job scrambling defensively, contesting a tough shot late in the clock, and also being in position to rebound.
At the risk of posing a simplistic query to you, offensive foul on Diakite. I know it's a higher level of basketball, but why are NBA players better at that?
Well, part of it's just feel, man. These guys play so many games. You know, they play so many games together, but also the game's different. The floor is spaced differently, so you have to be able to scramble. You never have help inside the paint like that. So every defensive possession is a scramble situation, especially when you have so many guys that can just break down off the dribble.
You can see plenty of that action Friday. We've got a doubleheader for you on ESPN. It starts 8 Eastern on the ESPN app as well. Giannis and the Bucks hosting the Thunder, and then the Nuggets take on the 3rd-seeded Clippers in the West. Coverage all starts with NBA Countdown at 7. Virginia and Virginia Tech meeting for the 2nd time this year. January 4th, a 65-39 Virginia victory. And so
say that again, 39.
39, the fewest amount of points for the Hokies since 1967 against ECU, and the fewest in this series since 1946. Jay Huff is in and scoring right away off the bench. Huff has only played 8 minutes in this game, so he's been used sparingly thus far for a guy who averages 25 minutes a night.
Yeah, Jay Huff's their best hedger. Let's say that. I know it's not something that everybody values greatly, but he hedges very well.
Key gets a hand on that lob try to the basket for Ojiako. Oh for 3 from deep for Morcell. Ojiako alters the Key attempt at the basket, and it rolls out of bounds. And Virginia is in disbelief that it's Hokies basketball. Well, it was anyway, until Lee Cassell, the official, stepped in and changed the call, which appears to be the right call.
I usually wait till we see a replay.
Oh,
I thought they had it right.
Was it off of Statman's shoe?
I really thought it was off of Statman's shoe. I thought they had it right.
Well, nevertheless, off we go. 15 to shoot for the Cavaliers.
Ball don't lie. Just see Rasheed Wallace out there screaming at
Huff with the rejection. You know, it was a number that jumped out to me. The first time that the Hokies and Cavaliers met earlier this year, Braxton Key had 18 and 10. It was only the second double-double of his career. The only other one in 121 career games coming into this one was earlier this year against James Madison. Same goes for Mamadi Diakite. Against Pitt in their last game, he had his second double-double in his career. The first against JMU. He's played in 130 games in his career.
So here's the thing. When you have such a good defense, they're always in position. All 5 are in position to rebound. Look, Kihei Clark is a great rebounder, partially because he's always in position, and they're always boxing out. So you're not going to get a ton of rebounds. No one individual is going to get a ton of rebounds. They team rebound because of the position they play.
And then given the system, the scoring opportunities are not going to be there.
Yeah, that's
13 points a game as the leading scorer for Virginia hardly gets you the top 25 in the ACC.
So they don't give up more than 50-some, 60 shots a game, even on a good one.
Giving up on average 53 points a game this year, first in the country. Couture has it wiped away by Diakite. The game's still within reach for Tech as they're down a dozen with fewer than 12 minutes to go on their home floor. Losers of 7 of 8. Virginia has rattled off 4 straight wins. Clark's got 4 on the shot clock. It'll be rolled to Tensai for a 3. Huff trying to tip it, gets called for the over the back.
Talk about the defense. Well,
Fill out the first team in this league because you got Mooney, who's a double-double machine, and what's the rest of it look like for you?
it's a great question. I mean, look, I think it comes down to who performs well at the end. Obviously, Verdon, Carey, Trey Jones, those are guys that have to be on that list. I mean, the question is, does a Cole Anthony slide in there? I mean, there's so much hype around this player.
Missed so much time.
I just can't see it. You think about missing time, but also not winning games.
Jordan Nwora.
Jordan Nwora is a definite. But also, you know, you got guys like Markel Johnson. I think it's terrific. 6.5 assists a game. It's just hard. I mean, there's a lot of talent, but when teams aren't separating themselves, because I always look for the better players on the best teams. That's it. I want to see the best players on the best team to fill out those first team all ACC. But I think Mooney's got to be there. You think about what, 13 rebounds a game? That's getting 10+ defensive rebounds a game. That's insane, man.
Jalen Cone gets his first 2.
If I was picking 5, I would definitely want him on my team.
Yes.
Mainly because he's not going to call for the ball that much, and I get to shoot more.
True to your roots.
Yep. And he's going to clean up all my misses.
Mike Cousins with John Crispin. Virginia and Virginia Tech separated by just 10 after an 11-point first half, the lowest in any game since Virginia Tech joined the ACC. There's 3 from Couture. Originally a Wofford commit, but followed his head coach Mike Young here to Blacksburg. A 7-point game now. This time a pick and pop for Diakite. And he's fouled on the floor.
Virginia Tech's capitalizing on just bad offense for Virginia. When Virginia's gone to that pick and roll situation, they've been good. When they've gotten away from it, it leads to this, a quick open shot for Virginia Tech, and that's what's gotten them back into this game. I don't know how many times I need to say it. You have to continue to go to that pick and roll situation and let Mamadi Diakite make the read. It's not about making a decision, it's about making a read.
Without letting him do that, they've been without a point for more than 4 minutes now.
There's no space there. I mean, look, you make that shot, but that's not an easy shot. There's no room to work. If you don't create space on the offensive end, you allow the defense to play shell drill. And anybody that's played basketball at, gosh, the middle school level knows what shell drill is. You basically just move with the basketball. As it slides, you shift your defense. And you always keep your eyes on the ball. You see man, see ball. All the principles apply, but you make it easy for the defense.
Cohen just got his first points. Woo. He could score in a flurry.
That's nasty, man. It's just nasty. It doesn't go in. It looks like a bad shot, but I love it either way.
And he's locked in on Kihei Clark. Rolled to 10-side curls. Clark gets it back. His reciprocation bounces off. Tech down 6 and looking for more.
Let go. Got to attack.
Horn. Yes! There's two guys in this league under 6 foot who are explosive scorers. Those two might come to mind first, along with Kihei Clark. Cohen said he messaged Chris Likes on Instagram to get advice from him and what he can do to be a better player before they played each other for the first time this season. And he said this offseason they're going to try and work out together. So he's done that, gotten Virginia Tech back within 3. Cohen and the Hokies scored 11 in the first half. They've made it a game with 8 to go.
And now it's time for the Smithfield Sizzle.
It was a split of the share in 2010 with Duke.
That's a really good Maryland team, and you think about what they lost. I mean, the biggest being Bruno Fernando. Bruno Fernando was the heart and soul. He was the vocal and emotional leader of that team, and I think it's taken time for Jalen Smith to figure out how to be that tough guy down low, because they really don't have it. You got a great leader in Anthony Cowell. It's just it's a matter of putting all those pieces together, and it takes time. It takes the course of a season.
Braxton Key, not a great free throw shooter, 58% to start the night. And he gets 2 right there. I'm Mike Cousins with John Crispin. Thanks for being with us tonight. Fewer than 8 minutes to play. Virginia and Virginia Tech. And ever since Tony Bennett has been the head coach at the University of Virginia, he has just about owned this series. He's won 15 of the 21 games he's coached against Tech. Tyrese Radford around Key, lost control, and the kick out for Horn. Just beats the horn, but leaves it short.
I'm going to say the Virginia Tech offense has been much better because they've been aggressive. They're looking to attack. And I think that's what happens in the first half. You don't make shots and you stop being aggressive. And that plays right into the hands of the Virginia defense.
Great effort from Aline to fight through a double screen to deny a shot for Wolde Tensai, who's been limited to just 3 points so far. Aline left the hand on Wolde Tensai, and he picks up his second foul. It's Nolly, Aline, and Horn each with 2 fouls for Virginia. Wolde Tensai and Diakite each with 2.
I'll go back to this point, though. Another ball screen and roll where the backside's going to kind of float up to the top. And it's a long closeout that led to that hand check. And that hand check's going to get called every single time. Anytime you stiff arm a guy, if you're a defender, you're going to get called for it.
Clark got just about to the basket, sent it out. Wolde Tensai for 3. No. Well, they've done a good job suppressing his offense tonight, averaging 15 a game over the last 5. Nolly, through plenty of contact on the second attempt, does get the whistle and goes to the line, a 78% free throw shooter.
Let's go back to it offensively. Virginia Tech is trying to get to the basket. When you do it with the bounce, all of the eyeballs for Virginia, the defensive eyeballs, focus on the basketball. If you just move the ball around the perimeter, they stay in position. Plays right into what they want to do.
Nolly for the first. The Atlanta native, a fan of the frosted orange shakes at the varsity. Is that too high calorie for you?
Oh, gosh. Yes.
Send you into a tizzy?
I don't know what I would do with that. Now, spiders. He's afraid of spiders and his mother. He's afraid of spiders and his mom. That's a good thing. Healthy fear, right? Now, spiders.
Maternal fear or arachnid fear?
No. Like the maternal fear, that's good. That's a healthy one. The arachnid, who isn't scared of spiders? Like,
Diakite, no. And he gets undercut by Radford. That's the foul. In a 3-point game.
There's like levels of spiders too. There's like the annoying ones, like the daddy long legs. They're just annoying. They're not going to cause any problems. But then there's the one that's on your ceiling, and you're like,
how did it get there? I think the next level for me is Home Alone tarantula.
Oh, don't even go there. Like,
so it's Diakite to the stripe, 75%. Into a legion of signs that includes Bacon, a brick, Mike Young, Patrick from SpongeBob.
So this is a real thing, though. If they miss 2 straight free throws, they all get Bacon? That's an expensive endeavor right there, just for 2 missed free throws.
It is, John, it is.
Oh, God, you did it. I would encourage my team to foul the worst free throw shooter if I was really into getting a little free bacon.
Braxton Key, 58% from the line.
I was going to say, you said it. I wasn't going to call anybody out. But.
Jay Huff, not a great free throw shooter either, sitting on the bench right now for UVA. Cone, another 3. All of a sudden, the game is a basket difference.
Hey, do you remember when they had 11 points at the half? I don't.
I'm old enough to remember that.
Seriously, I mean, it's a completely different team here in the second half.
Offensive foul. And it's on Wolde Tensai coming through the screen too strong. That's his 3rd personal.
It's amazing what happens, though. When you become the aggressor, you create your own energy. You create your own luck. 50-50 balls seem to go your way. You create opportunities. Even on the defensive end.
On this possession, Tech has a chance to take the lead for the first time tonight. Nolly goes to work. 3 on the shot clock. Clobbered on the way up. A combination of Key and Diakite. And the foul is on Braxton Key, number 3.
When you knock down 3-point shots, defense is going to stay with you, and they have just been terrific here in the second half. These aren't really easy looks. Those are contested threes, but they're falling. And what that means is the defense is going to be there on the catch. They're not going to help off. The defense isn't helping off. You're going to have driving lanes. Nolly wide open to get to the basket in a one-on-one situation.
We mentioned earlier, prior to a break, about how Cone had reached out to Miami's Chris Likes via Instagram to get some advice, and you said from your time, things were a little bit different. You might not have done that. Not that Instagram was around.
Yeah, we were buddies with everybody to an extent, but
from camp,
kind of. I mean, look, there was like a mutual respect, but we were competitors first and foremost. We just didn't have that connectivity, man. Today's a different day.
Tied up 2-all. Couture too close, like a belt pack on Wolde Tensai.
And if you're Jalen Cone, of course you're going to like that. You're going to like Chris Light's game. I mean, look, we could say, well, it's because of the stature. No, it's because of the freedom, man. Everybody wants a green light. Hey, how can I play with that green light? Just go, man. Do what you want. I don't think you're getting free bacon here.
Now with Wolde Tensai at the line.
Not a one-on-one situation either, so.
I like you. You keep me in line, John. No bacon on a one-on-one.
I caught myself, but I had an opportunity to correct you as if I didn't make the same mistake.
Always a good chance to take. Virginia back up by 2 with 5 minutes to play. The Hokies have lost 7 of 8. Virginia has won 4 straight and 7 of 8. Couture for 3. He's got it, and the Hokies have the lead for the first time tonight. Rejected by Nolly, but Diakite keeps the effort consistent and gets the bucket. 48-47. We come back to Blacksburg in 30 seconds.
He's an opponent.
What there is to like about LSU, too, they're the only team in the country, 5 players averaging at least 12 points. So if somebody doesn't have a hot night, you got a lot of backup.
Well, they can also all put it on the floor, too. 5 threats is hard to defend.
Radford puts it on the deck. And that's a goaltend call against Diakite on its descent to the cylinder.
I think they got it right. I like the little ISO situation. Why not? That's close.
It looked like a ball that wasn't really on a parabolic arc. It was always going down.
I'm going to have to Google parabolic first before I respond.
Up and then down.
Use smaller words with me,
to
please.
simplify it.
There you go.
Ball go down, John.
Not a caveman.
Hokies take it away. Nolly feeds ahead for Couture, who's helped spark this run with a 3 of his own, as the Hokies did not lead until just moments ago for the entirety of the game. Last time they were tied was 2-2.
And Nolly wants the ball in the post. He likes the matchup with Walden Tenzai. He's going to end up at the foul line. Now in the bonus, and that's 4 for Walden Tenzai. No reason, really. I mean, you force the catch as far out as possible, and you rely on your help in an ISO situation. Now, you do the job in the post, and the job in the post is to force the catch as far from the basket as possible. Walden Tenzai did just that. Did not need to foul.
Talk about the best freshman scorers in the country. Nolly is right there. Redshirted last year. But in terms of freshman players who have scored with 20 or more points this year, he's got 9 games like that. The leader is Vernon Carey of Duke with 12. Anthony Edwards of Georgia with 10. Or rather with 11. And Onyeka Okongwu of USC with 10. And Nolly right behind that trio. Biggest lead of the night for Tech. Key draws the double team. Couture's hands up with the steal. Everywhere a Cavalier went on that possession, 2 or more Hokies greeted them. And it's an easy call for Lee Cassell for the offensive foul on Nolly. The arm extended, his 3rd personal.
That's the second same exact offensive foul that he picked up, and that's just an easy call. Braxton Key knows exactly where he's going. He gets his body in front of it. It's a simple call, going the other way. I mean, you can be, I like being aggressive, but you also can be patient at times. Move the basketball, cut through, get the defense to move a little bit, get that space you need. There's no room to work.
2 of his 3 fouls offensive.
That's youth, though, too. Sometimes you force it a little bit.
Here comes Clark off the baseline screen. He gets another from Diakite. Cone right on his hip. Wow. And Kihei Clark pulls Virginia within 1. 2.5 to play in Blacksburg.
Just like a little mini Xavier Simpson there with a, call it a half sky hook.
Cone, no.
You gotta be careful. If you're Virginia Tech, a couple bad offensive possessions could completely turn this game around. So you want to get good shots, particularly after, and this is the feel part of the game. You got to feel it out. And obviously Cone, Jalen Cone, young guy, when you have a bad possession that was an offensive charge, you got to have a good one to follow.
Statman, the drive, the kick to the corner, and a three for Morcell to put Virginia up. 53-51.
Go back to it. You've got to have feel in the game. If you don't feel that out, multiple bad possessions can completely...
3-point attempts in Division I. And yet, his three puts them in front by 2. Nolly, the leading scorer for the Hokies tonight with 13. Here it's Radford who's short. So the last 2 tries for the Hokies have met the front rim.
I go back to it. The charge is one play, but then a bad shot to follow that up. You capitalize and the pressure builds.
Clark, what's the call? Clarence Armstrong has a travel. Mike Roberts agrees. Virginia Tech with the ball.
I'm not sure where he's going. I mean, just get back, run ball screens, go back to it. It's actually not a travel. That's a Euro step, but sometimes when you go Euro step really slow, it looks like an obvious travel.
Nolly wants baseline. Thwarted by Diakite and Key.
1 minute to play. 1 minute to play.
5 on the shot clock. Couture for 3 and missed everything. A chance for Nolly to take it to the basket himself. He deferred, and the Hokies have to defend. So Mike Young brings his team over for a quick tribunal as Lee Cassell and Mike Roberts go to have a look at the game clock. See, as the ball went out of bounds, exactly what the time on the clock should be.
Again, just not a great possession. They haven't had a good offensive possession.
So they'll put 1 second back on the game clock from 50.6 to 51.6. Later tonight, after Celtics and Jazz, we'll have SportsCenter with SVP. Reaction from that game. Tim Legler will join the show with the top performances of the night. Todd McShay breaks down the biggest risks at the NBA Combine. And the return of Bad Beats at SportsCenter with SVP after the NBA on ESPN and the ESPN app.
I wonder how official Lee Cassell would test out at the NFL Combine. He looks like a good player in the league.
What's Tony Bennett's 40 time? Let's just transpose all the combine elements onto college basketball. You're right, though. Lee Cassell in the running for biceps of the year for officials.
Got the Schmedium shirt on. Look, I still go back to it. The charge changed everything down the stretch, where the offensive possessions for Virginia Tech became almost desperation shots. You know, not confident shots, not confident plays, not trusting teammates. And now Virginia has an opportunity with a good offensive possession to seemingly put this thing away.
Clark off a couple of ball screens to the corner for Morcell. He sends it way long.
Clark actually had Statman on the throwback, just didn't see him. Good timeout by Mike Young here. Got to get a good offensive possession.
Strategizing time. We're coming back in 60 seconds.
Ball game, and be aggressive, be confident, be assertive, or play to tie this thing up and try to extend it. I think if you're Virginia Tech, you got to say, guys, let's win this thing in regulation. That's what the conversation has to be out of that timeout. You put your guys in a situation where you're going to get a good look.
Cone swirls off the screen, 15 to shoot. 3-point shooters abound for the Hokies on this possession. A drive for Radford ties the game.
Just a great offensive set. You got to get Radford turning the corner, getting into the paint with shooters around the wing.
Kihei Clark swoops back, a 3 is good with 2.1. Wow, Kihei Clark at the game's biggest moment nails the triple here on the road.
How about the awareness of Kihei Clark? Just understanding time on the clock, and it's good to get a shot up with a second or 2 left. You give your offense an opportunity to get a second chance point. It's a kid, he hasn't done a lot offensively. He hit a big left-handed runner here a minute and a half ago. But again, the awareness, you got to get that shot up. You kind of got the defender leading, just enough room to get the shot off. And again, enough time to get a second chance opportunity. A lot of times you see guys settle for a shot. At the very end of the shot clock, it's just a bailout bad shot. There's no offensive rebounding opportunity. Clark's been asked to do a lot more this season, and it's not just score, it's facilitate, it's create opportunities for teammates. He's grown a lot over his time. I mean, even as a young freshman, a lot was asked of him. Defensively, he's gotten better, he's gotten stronger. On the offensive end, he's had to be more aggressive, and I think using him more in those ball screen situations, if you can develop him into a really good ball screen point guard, you can pick teams apart. There's not a lot of teams cover ball screens well, I can tell you that. Not a lot of teams know how to use it well, not a lot of teams know how to counter. Timeout, Tony Bennett.
See how they line up, and it's got to be very quick here for the Hokies, and it has to be a three.
You can run the baseline, you're going to put a big man on the ball. You run the baseline, you always want to be careful not to touch the ball. That's the thing. I mean, it's so easy to kind of get your hand out over the baseline. Make contact with the ball.
Quick update in the studio. Kevin Connors, what's cracking?
Rivera. Disrespectful to a lot of the guys that are here. But compared to what they had, it was a fresh start. And this is a guy who's going to do a terrific job with his basketball program.
So one shot for overtime for the Hokies. In for Nolly, a dribble and a heave. And the Cavaliers are victorious in Blacksburg, scoring 8 of the final 10 and a dagger to win it from Kihei Clark.
Kihei Clark, you can't say enough about the presence of mind, the poise to be able to just understand the situation, get a shot up with a couple seconds left on the shot clock, create enough space to get the look. But again, the defense in the second half, last 2 minutes of the game, there was the charge, it was another stop, coupled with another stop after that, and it was ultimately that UVA defense and a couple good decisions on the offensive end that got it done.
The winning streak for the Cavaliers